But you'll have to
I
be
am
the host
now.
again in the ending.
You'll have to admit everyone, Sonika, as they join in.
Oh God. Why don't you do that first? Introduce me.
Do you want us to do that?
I think that may be better.
Okay, fine. So can you make me host again, because I already made you host.
Yeah, darling. Yeah, 1 second. And we'll record this session. Parveen, just enable the recording.
You will not be able to record.
No, she will.
You won't be. You're the host. But even in our hosting, it will. After, can she see the screen?
Can you see the screen,
Yeah, make me
Ahana?
host again. No.
Make her host again now.
She can see the screen.
She said no.
Yeah, I'm host again. So
You're host again, na, darling? Okay.
yeah.
How do I change it? You haven't showed me. When people come on, they don't tell me that.
Are you able to screen share?
Just asking, can I share my screen?
She's asking, are you unable to screen share this chat?
No.
No, Ahana. I can't screen share, beta.
I'm gonna see. Aditya, can you try screen sharing? I want to see if it's just you. Oh.
How will I? Parveen? Parveen?
Can you share? Try sharing. I've enabled.
Ahana, can I share the whole PPT with you, then you can project it once we start?
Yeah, that you can do. That'll be easier then.
I think so,
put
yeah.
in my email ID on the chat.
Which chat, darling? Send it. Tell your mother to WhatsApp me the email ID.
Yeah, okay, I'll do.
I don't know why I want to start it. You have it with you?
What?
The PPT?
Yes, I have. Let me check your.
Take this also.
Hi, Erin.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. We are just going to start. A pretty second.
Lovely. Looking forward to hearing the talk, the discussion.
Eh,
They send me the email ID immediately in the WhatsApp. So then you can project the PPT. It should not working now. Hello? Hello? Yeah, WhatsApp now, so then I can send the PPT immediately to you on the email. So you project it, but wait, we're discussing a slide, then wait. Then I can say next, then you change the slide. Is that okay? Just send me immediately. That is, people have already logged in. Yeah. Yeah.
you want to read it to me? I'll just so that.
I don't. Mute yourself.
Red Bhai, can you see my screen?
Yeah, Matharan Heritage Bungalows.
Matharan Heritage. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Yeah, very clear.
We
Architect
were just
Shobhita
having
Arya.
some technical challenges.
Like your voice is coming and going. I can see clearly, but your voice is.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, come Sonika. Sit down. Yeah.
So now how do I do?
You can just press this button to change.
Niche ka.
Yeah, just one.
Document there, what I think even artists today do that. It's more, I have so many books on contemporary artists, but it's more the art interpret, the art. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Parveen Mehtani. Or somebody who studies that, their view more than the view of the artist. So I heard so many artists, like when I go to shows and they speak, and they've spoken to my kids also, and they cannot attribute a reason to what they have seen. So often. I know I go to galleries, and especially Kemol and all, where I take my students. And okay. So good afternoon, everyone. Sonika, can we start? Okay. Okay. Just unmute. So Sonika, everyone, thank you so much for being here today and taking this session for so many of us. Sonika, for all of you, is an architect. She's a renowned architect who has graduated from the Academy of Architecture in Mumbai. She has worked on a variety of projects ranging from residential homes to heritage bungalows, commercial projects, and hotels. She's an avid reader, an art connoisseur, a traveler, and especially she's traveled to a lot of places which have social, cultural, and architectural value. And she has her husband, Gaurav Arya,
and 2 teenage beautiful daughters in Mumbai. Her older daughter is in Bombay International School, and her young one has just passed with flying colors. A very good friend, and thank you so much, Sonika. Over to you for your wonderful session on the Mathiran Heritage Bungalows.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here. I think this is a brilliant idea that you have of having people come here and address young people and fellow parents and people who would be interested in something different. So it's my privilege to be here. Thank you. Thank you, Ahana, for helping set up. Today I'm going to be talking. Sorry. Yeah, today I'm going to be talking about the projects which I've done in this small hill station called Mathiran. So for people who are in Bombay, they would be knowing Mathiran. It is a hill station which is about 90 kilometers away from Bombay, and it is nestled in the Sahyadri Hills. This place was to try to give a little background, because when we talk about restoration of heritage, we have to understand what is the heritage we are trying to preserve in the first place. So this place was discovered in about 1850. And it was discovered by the gentleman, a Britisher called Hugh Maley. He was the district collector of Thane. And in May 1850, he discovered this place. And like you guys know, the English used to find Mumbai very hot. Though it was on the sea, it can get really warm in the summer. So they would like to take this little getaway in the hills. And this place started developing because all of them started building these small homes nestled up there, in the trees. And it's a very, very quaint hill station, if I may call it. It's about, I think, 800 meters above sea level. So it is definitely very cool. Even now when we guys go there, there's one home which I've given air conditioners in. The others don't even need it, because we worked on cross ventilation, we worked on skylights. So, there's a lot of circulation of air happening there. So this, in 1907, there was the first railway line, which was set up in Mathiran. It's a very cute 20-kilometer Mathiran, hill railway. It's like a toy train, similar to what you have in Darjeeling and Simla. So I think Mathiran was to be regarded as a UNESCO site, but I think we didn't make it for some few technicalities. But it is still, even now the railway is working, and you can very much avail of it when you go there. So this was laid by this gentleman called Sir Adamji Peerboy, who was from Mumbai. And the stone was laid by Lord Elphinstone from the same Elphinstone College fame. He was the governor of Bombay at that point. So without much ado, let me start showing you guys the slides. And feel free to ask me questions. Either put it in the box and I can answer them. Or Parveen, if you want to unmute, depends on you, or I can take them in the end, whatever you like.
I'd say, Sonika, you start. If somebody has a question, they can just raise their hand so that we can unmute the person.
Sure. So this is the first slide. This is the first project which I'm displaying. This is a beautiful 50-year-old bungalow. So this was facing the valley on one side. So this is the entrance as you come to it, and this is way below the road level. So, it was a challenge to deal with this one, because a lot of the silt and the dirt from the main road would keep rushing down with the flow of water, etc. So we had to, this was a challenge, because we had to make a lot of embankments. We had to redo the storm drainage in a direction where all this could be, diversified and put towards, the side of the valley where it could flow down. So a lot of site work was required for this one. Most of these structures, like you can see, are ground structures, except for one which will be a ground plus one. So this is the foyer that you can see. There's a lovely truss up there. This is all recreated again in the same, we're using the same language of, British architecture, the Raj. You can see this lovely truss, and this is the fascia, what we kind of cover it up with. So you don't see the cross sections of the battens and the rafters that go behind. And all at the back that you see are the Mangalore tiles, which of course are clay tiles, like they come from south, they come from Kerala, Mangalore. And so that has been used very authentically. Nothing, none of those 4 tiles that we get in Bombay, and none of that. Okay, that's another view of the entrance foyer. These are again old cast iron grills, like you can see. These were all acquired from Chor Bazaar, because it still has a lot of old, I would say, remnants of the British buildings, colonial buildings. So we went there with the client. She was a very enthusiastic, a dear friend and a client, and we really had a good time doing these kind of trips, finding things which we could use. So these are those old grills. Again, the door, we put these old Japanese tiles, which again we found in Chor Bazaar. The windows are exactly where they used to be. They've just been redone with new Burma teak. All these sections of wood that you see are seasoned old Burma teak, which were acquired from old homes in Gujarat. Gujarat still has a lot of old homes which are being dismantled. So we kind of go and scout for the wood from there. Okay, that's another view from another perspective. So you can see the expanse. This house was you can see the roof, the roof area was huge. I mean, the height of the house here at this topmost level here till down was almost 28 feet. And believe me that this was a little challenging because there were no columns in the house, really speaking, except for, one line where I'll show you. The walls, because this falls under heritage, the walls are all, they all are load-bearing walls. These were all made with laterite, which is a natural rock found in the Sahyadri in Mathiran. Of course, we have painted it here in this area. There is this plinth protection that you see. And except for, the major trusses which were done in steel sections, everything else was wood and everything else is natural, the way you're seeing it with the Mangalore tiles. Okay, this is an interesting picture I wanted to show you, because this is how, this is the old system. The column is here at the corner of the 2 walls, and there is an external support given here. So which is very interesting. This is the way it was done during that era when these bungalows were made. I would say this bungalow was made in the late 1800s, before 1900 for sure. And we had a challenge because a lot of these old trees, you can see this one, the roots go down all the way, and they must be very, very well entrenched into the, maybe into the foundation of this bungalow, which therefore I couldn't touch. And then we made this, plinth, tree protection around these trees, because again, what happens is when you let them just grow anyhow wild, the roots are all over the place. And a major problem this particular family had was they used to have snakes coming into their home. So I really had to be very careful when we were doing this. So, and this, what you see here is again something called plinth protection. So, you see to it that the water, everything else doesn't keep coming and touching the walls, because that's how seepages begin. That's how, water goes into the foundation and makes the structure very weak. Okay, so this is one of the shots when you enter the home. So this actually, there were these windows and there was a door here. And this area here was a very dark, small entrance foyer. So we said, it's so dark when you used to enter that it really looked very dull. So we decided to remove the doors and windows, make it into arches like this, and have a lot of air and light coming in between the 2 areas. Though there still is like an entrance foyer and we have a dining table here, you'll see in the successive slides. And this became the main seating area. This is the door which leads to the valley. So you have a beautiful view from here. You can see again, we again use the trusses here. This is a very complicated ridge roof that I have used here. Here you can see the rafters and the beams. Though we have used bison panels at the bottom, we made a layered roof. So, there's an insulation from the Mangalore tiles. So between the Mangalore tiles and the bison panels, you have thermocol. We have filled it with wooden shavings. We have filled it so that there's some amount of foil. So there is no sound coming from the top. You have a huge monkey issue in Mathiran, they dance on your roof at any time of the day until evening, till they don't go back into the woods. So that helps, and also they don't land up breaking tiles as often. They don't come crashing down into your house. But also because the clients didn't want to see the underside of the Mangalore tiles. They wanted a very finished look. And you can see a small glimpse of the flooring here, which I'll show you in better pictures ahead. So this is a very typical old flooring. You guys must have seen it in most of the buildings in the fort precinct. These are the cement tiles which were made at that point in factories in Britain, and they used to be brought down, and we used to install them in all the possible Gothic structures, neoclassical, Gothic, all of that entire phase. So we have a company in Bombay which is now almost 100 years old. It's the Parsi family which is making these tiles, ceramic tiles. Cement tiles. And we chose this design. It's a beautiful Jaisalmer color with a little motif in the middle. And we installed them on site. And these have to be polished, once after you install them. So there was a lot of labor which had to come into the house from Bombay. And here again, we've used some Jaisalmer to again match with the lovely mustard color that you can see. Same goes for the paint. Yeah. So this is the center archway. I wanted you to see this because look at this complicated ridge. I could not change the way the roof had to be because the water has to, flow down at a certain angle. And when you're looking at a roof which has a slope of spanning of over 25, 30 feet, and just at an angle of 26 degrees or so, you just cannot compromise. So, that's what we've done here. This was very tricky to see to that there are no, leakages later on. All the joints had to be very carefully done. But what a beauty it is when you see it from, from here, because you see how complicated it is. And sometimes that's art itself, when you actually see, you don't have to hide every time how something is built. This is how you show how something is built. Of course, these arches were made on site. This is all new, but we've retained the old jams. Again, beautiful old Burma teak. The family has a lot of old Raja Ravi Varmas, which we have used here. Yeah. So this is the living room. You can see the slope of this roof. This is a steel truss, which we have, of course, covered it up with veneer and ply. And again, a lot of old furniture we've used. We've repolished, redone it up and used it here. Old units like this. Now, this is very interesting. We made a fun tables like this. This is a chess table. So you don't need to have a chessboard. You just pull this ahead and you, start playing on this. We have a similar Ludo table, which you'll see ahead. And this houses the TV. This is built into the wall. The walls are very thick. Most of them are about 12 inches or so. So we use some part of it in one place as a bar and in one place as the TV unit. Okay. So this door leads to the kitchen. You can see how beautifully, the space looks so nice and big without doors and windows and anything like that. This is the dining table. And again, of course, everything hanging from the top. We have, the ceiling went up to about 28, 30 feet, bringing the chandeliers down, bringing the fans down. This entire view of the valley from here, we put these beautiful chicks there. So in the summer, you just have your chicks down and you have nice cool air coming in. Yeah, that's the bar. This leads to other bedrooms, bedroom 1, bedroom 2. And again, you know, Mathiran again has a lot of mosquitoes, like most of these hill stations. So everything is double doored, like you can see. These are all jalis, MS jali is very fine, so that, you know, you had air coming in the evenings, but you are safe from the mosquitoes. Yeah, another view, there's another bedroom here. Again, look at the beauty of this roof. Yeah. And you can see this. These are the skylights we created. So we did the cutouts in the roof and we removed the Mangalore tiles from there with, of course, a very decent waterproofing so that we could put these glass tiles, glass Mangalore tiles. They look like Mangalore tiles, but they're solid glass. So that, you know, at any time of the day, you have this beautiful light you can see on the floor, the way it falls. So even in the afternoon, you know, you could be shutting your doors and windows and still have this very, very subtle light coming in. And we didn't want it to be a very dark area. But because the windows are only on one side, this was one way of getting more light into the room. Yeah, that's another view. There's a card table where, you know, the family always visits this home with friends. So it was a very guest-friendly home, I would say. Yeah. This is one of the master bedrooms. You can see the tiles again here. We've chosen a very different Persian design here. Again, a very old antique 4-poster bed. It has lovely rosewood carvings here, engraved. And we took these side tables, like mostly just like counters, into the wall with just Jaisalmer slabs. No, we didn't want too much maintenance because what happens is when you visit your family home, you want to enjoy it. You don't want to be cleaning it the moment you reach with too many things cluttering, you know, around. So the idea was to keep it very fuss-free. There's again a beautiful old dresser which the family owned. This leads to the toilet. So you can see again the same, you know, language, design language has been repeated with the arches, with the frosted mirrors. This is again a little tea corner. You know, in the morning, the family likes to have tea in their room because they can see the valley again from here. Another view of the same room, just showing you how gigantic these supports are. You know, the weight of this ceiling must be, I don't know how many tons. Okay, so this is a quirky little toilet. My client wanted this. So when we were in one of our salons to Chor Bazaar, we picked up every possible tile we could see. And we said, you know what, this is going to be the dividing wall between the bathing area and the dry area. And this was, I think it turned out to be a very fun element in a otherwise very archaic looking home. Yeah, so this is a better view you're getting of the space which is overlooking the valley side. Again, you can see these Ludo tables. So very quaint, very, very warm, very homely, enough light coming in. Again, we didn't want to block any of this. It's all frosted glass. So again, you have a lot of light coming in. Used every possible old divan, put mattresses. You know, that's a good thing. We didn't throw away anything that they had. We just refurbished everything, restored everything. You can see a very Art Deco hexagonal table here. Again, massive, massive supports on the corners of the house. You can see the number of windows. It's just an entire line from here to here. So it was all louvered, you know, it was all louvered initially the way it was built. But again, they had problems with, you know, snakes and worms and whatnot. So we changed that into double shutters, one with glass and one with the MS grill. That's an evening view of the house. So, you know, it's that many steps below and actually a few more steps ahead because the road is a little way off. So you get off from your horses, you walk down here, so many more steps down and then you reach the house. So you can imagine we had to think of so many different ways that, you know, all this storm drainage wouldn't interfere with the plinth and would not rest against the house. Oh, this is just one of the shots of the play of light and shadows in the evening. Yeah, that's Again, an evening shot of the same house. Okay, so again to show you the view from outside. This is the rear view, which is facing the valley. So you can see, look at where the roof is and look at this slope. And look at the number of steps coming down. This is red agra stone that we put here. And of course, this here then, you know, just, it's a very, very steep area and then just a very, very, very shallow area here, which is flat. And then you just look down into the valley. It's just a very, very beautiful spot to be at. And again, all the trees, extremely old, all above 100 years. So a lot of care to be taken with roots. Again, a lot of care to be taken with the top branches also. This is the side view. So you can see how long the entire home is. Okay. This is the second home. Again, this is a very narrow home. So we had to really use space very judiciously. Created these arches again for support. This client wanted to see wood from the underside. So, you know, you can see there is a lot of, you know, polishing work. We put these slats of wood and everything had, of course, he did not want the same kind of flooring. In his case, it's tiles which look like marble. And again, you can see the old armchairs, the same old bungalow look. There's a small bar here. Kept the same louvers, same for the windows and archways and doors. Another view from another angle. So you can see it's way narrower than that home. So one had to really make it look large. Keep some open space, have high, you know, the ceilings are anyways high and keep the colors muted on the walls. That's a lovely bedroom. Again, lot of old furniture. You can see this quaint writing table, you know, with the marble top and the tile here. Again, the old almiras, which used to have mirror on one side, solid wood, no ply whatsoever. Again, old bed. You know, this is the top, which was used then later to put the mosquito nets. You can see again the windows. We kept the same character. Made these arches, put these louvers, having them open. These are again storage. Very, very old fashioned, did not want to change the character at all. See how narrow this house is as opposed to that. This is exposed ashlar masonry, you can see. This is different. You can see you can actually see the laterite stone, the way it's been laid. Again, a lot of old grills. Everything is at a, you know, the Mathiran is so rocky that we have no choice but to have so many steps going from one place to another, because it's not so easy to keep leveling the surface there. So this again has a beautiful character. You can see the windows, you can see the awnings. So it really is, I would say, very quaint, different from the kind of structures you see in Bombay that the British built. So obviously even they were building these in a different manner as opposed to their homes here and their official buildings here. This almost makes you feel like you could be somewhere in, you know, in some village in England. Yeah, this I wanted to show you for the roof. Again, you can see the way it's been treated. Beautiful trusses, which you don't see as often now. Very little in Bombay except for old homes and old clubs. So this again requires very good wood, very good craftsmanship, very good woodwork. And we have to take a lot of care of termites. You know, that's a big thing with so much wood being used. So constantly one has to be careful of that. Okay, this is bungalow number 3. This bungalow was different from the others because this has a huge expanse of flat land, unlike the other two. So this was easier in that respect because there was a lot of flat surface to work on. But this was blessed with God knows, I think 100 trees. So we had to again be very careful. We did not want to touch any tree, didn't want to destroy this whole beautiful look. I think this bungalow is also dated when the family bought it in 1910 or 1915. So it was built a little before that, maybe in the late 1800s. And then, of course, changes were made. This, what you see here, I've added a French window here, which earlier used to be the same kind of louvered windows that you saw, because there's a beautiful compound here, which I wanted, you know, everybody to be able to see when you have your morning tea there. Again, large mangrove roof, very, very high ceiling. This is whilst the work was on. You can see these cutouts were made. The French window is in progress. This has 2 side entries rather than a center entry. These are the toilets on either side. A very basic bungalow model, which used to be, you know, what bungalows were really called. They came from the word called bangla, actually. So bungalow is just the English hybrid for Bangla. Yeah, this is the rear side of the house. Again, we use a lot of indigenous materials. This is all shabad, which was polished. Again, the same, you know, old cement British tiles, which we got redone by this Parsi company. And here again, old grills, reused cast iron, beautiful. You can see all sewage pipes, you can see them, they're exposed because everywhere when you are, you know, attaching them to the sewage, the septic tanks, because a lot of these bungalows are a little away from where the municipality has the sewage drains and pipes running. So most of the bungalows have their own pit where, you know, all the waste goes and it's treated, because a lot of them don't have access to the municipal connection. And again, a different treatment to the fascia here you can see. In this case, you can see the GI sheet. This has not been covered and not been hidden. It's been kept open beautifully. Yeah, another shot. Yeah, that's about it. So I'm very happy to answer any queries. Parveen, you want to unmute people?
Does anyone have any questions? Because just raise your hand. I have a question.
Sure, Anna.
How long did it take for you to make and design the whole thing?
Very good question, because, you know, Mathiran is the only hill station, which maybe I didn't mention in the beginning, I should have, which does not allow any motor vehicles to come up. So you have to, even if you go by train, you have to get off somewhere and walk up or take a, you know, hand rickshaw or ride a horse. So similarly, even for material to reach Mathiran, it, you know, comes to a point which is at the base of the hill station, and then it is carried up either on a mule or on hand cart. So because of which it takes very long for material to even reach these bungalows. And, you know, labor again, you know, I was trying to use as much labor as we could from the village, you know, from the villages around and from Mathiran itself. So there could be generation of, you know, work for people there. So, and what happens in the monsoon is the whole hill station just shuts down. Even these homes, you know, we kind of close these up. All these windows are closed up with GI sheets because the way it rains there, it's very incessant, very heavy rain. So about, I would say 4 to 5 months of a year, Mathiran is non-operational. So effectively speaking, you are getting about 7 to 8 months, max 7 months of work, which can really happen. And of course, at the pace that I'm telling you, when things are being carried up by animals and humans. So the largest bungalow, the first one, took us about 2.5 years, because considering we worked 7 months of the year, first year, again 7 months. for the second year. And then that was just one part of the bungalow you saw. There was another outhouse which I haven't included here because it was very similar to this. So it was a large structure. And this one again took about, again, within 2 years. And the middle one you saw was again, that took shorter because a lot of it was in a good condition. So you would say again, yeah, 1.5 years.
Oh, there's one more. There's a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Any of these homes available for day visits?
Sorry, day
Are
visits?
they? That's a question we got.
Yes, why not? I could arrange for that. Let me know. I would love to. I would really love to. Let me know because now right now post monsoon, one can do that. In fact, I can take you to these homes for even for your. I can accompany you. I can arrange.
I have a question.
My contractor who's booked on all these structures is living in Mathiran, so I can help. I can have him help us arrange for these visits because also what is very interesting for you all to see, which we discovered whilst we were making it. You know, when you opened one wall, which was again these come under heritage. So certain walls I cannot touch, though they come under heritage B, as opposed to Fountain and Fort Precinct, which is heritage A. So I can't really change much there. Here, I have scope for change as long as I show the plans to the heritage committee and I get their permissions. So what happens is when I was removing the plaster of one of the walls, we discovered there was a fireplace behind it, which had been, you know, covered by some subsequent owner. So it's very interesting once you open these old structures, something new is behind. Or once we removed the plaster and we saw, you saw how tall the walls are. Inside that there was an arch, which was such a smart thing to do for the stability of the wall, to put an arch inside it. So what happens is the entire wall, the load is in a different manner. It does not come straight down on the wall. It meets at a point, which is, it becomes like a triangular centrifugal kind of stress. So it's different. So I think these kind of very smart ways of building, which we may not see today because A, there is no need to build anymore like this. B, of course, a lot of it is lost also along the way. These things were built, a century and a half ago. So, and again, how they built just the roof. You'll be so interested to see how the roofs were done, because now this kind of wooden roofs are no longer done unless you have a heritage home or a heritage structure. Yes, so definitely I can help you with that.
I have a question.
Yes, Aditya.
How much would this property be off?
In terms of valuation. Are you saying in terms of valuation, how much would this be worth? Are you saying that?
Yeah. Like
so it
plus
depends,
the
Aditya,
land,
all
plus the property, plus the investments inside the house, materials.
Yeah, so it's not a cheap proposition at all. It is definitely not a cheap proposition. It is depending, of course, how much land there is. All three properties have a different area we're looking at. The first one was very large. It was about almost 3 acres. This one, the last one, is about 1.5. The one in the middle was a very funny area he has, very narrow, but again, very, very nice view from where he is. So it all depends, I think. But today, if you were to buy a land and build, I think you have to keep a budget about anything between 2 to 4 CR, depending what you're looking at. So 3 CR, I would say, including interiors, for something which would be, at this level, a decent 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom house with a good outhouse for your staff, etc. See, also don't forget that Mathiran now has limited number of bungalows, because it is heritage. You cannot now build somewhere which wasn't already a built structure. So there are a lot of illegal and very garishly done up hotels, sadly, which have come up. So those, after seeing those, I think the committees become stricter and stricter, thankfully. so that even if something which is not on the plan when you bought the property, whenever those plans were there, the development plans, they don't allow you to make anything new on your land. So again, we have to be very careful that whatever plans we have to see to that the area doesn't exceed that. So that is something you have to keep in mind. So see, you have to understand that the value is that you are getting a place absolutely in the woods. You're going to be riding whole day. You have different points to go see nature. They have a beautiful lake out there. There's an old style marketplace. You know how they say every hill station has like that market. So even Mathiran has that quaint thing. And the fact that there are no vehicles. So, so it is really, I would say, pollution free. Now, Reliance has picked up a hotel there, which they have made into I think, an outhouse for their company. So a lot of, I think people are realizing the value of something which is just 90 kilometers away from Bombay. So you can easily spend even a day and come back, and it's feasible. So I think Mathiran in that sense has more character and still has an old world charm, which I think Lonavala, Khandala lost in the 80s with the big building boom, and that's more become very luxurious. This is still very, very quaint, I would say, compared to that. And Mahabaleshwar is very far. Mahabaleshwar still has the same character, homes and hotels, but it's way, it's about 280 kilometers compared to 90 kilometers away from Bombay. Does that answer your question, Aditya? I'm not very good with valuations, so I did my best.
Any more questions?
Is there anything which interested you all? Is there anything you would like to know in terms of design or construction? We'll be happy to answer.
So I have one question. Hi, Sonika.
Hi, Pallavi. How are you?
Good. This is so lovely to see. And finally, I know why you keep running to Mathiran.
So this should inspire you to join me next time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I want to know why you choose a palette of very sun colors in all these houses that you showed us today.
Mm-hmm.
I saw generally the whole palette was very golden yellow, sunny palette.
Yeah. So you see, that's a very good observation actually, Pallavi, because this color here, you can see this red, brick red color, the red agra stone. The soil of Mathiran, because of its character, it comes from a laterite region, it's actually very red. And the soil is such that if it comes on your clothes and on your shoes, it stains it. So this red color doesn't go that easy. So we had to see to it that, along the bottom, if you see, that's why I've stuck to this red color. So even if the soil, stains it later on, it does not look ugly. It stays the same color. And the mustard, I think also because it's very Indian, it goes with the whole theme of bungalows. Also, again, it's not, doesn't look very, prominently out of place, because the whole thing we are trying to do is very, very, something which seems like it's sprouted from the ground. These are just ground structures. So yeah, I don't think any client wanted a blue or a pink. So I suggested these mustards, and they wanted a little bit of that, Spanish, Portuguese color palette, which we stuck to. Yeah, I think that's the main reason. Though the other bungalow you saw was painted, so he did go for a different color. So it depends, I think, what the client wants. But overall, I feel also with the amount of rain and amount of, wear and tear, these colors somehow, even when they weather, they look nice. They don't look ugly on weathering.
Mm.
So in fact, the walls inside, a lot of the old walls, all the joints are done in lime. That old lime they have used, as opposed to today when we are using cement and slurry and everything else in the joints. these joints are all done in line, which is again amazing considering the height and the
So then
the
did you
load
stick
that
to
it
the
was taking.
line did you stick to the
No,
line restoration?
no, we could not. A, because we use a lot of brickwork for the internal walls, where we had to use new internal walls. It was brick, and for the external also, I think the repair work we did in with our what we do with our cement and sand mix. Because also you don't get labor now today who knows how to use that anymore. None of us
True.
are that familiar with it, honestly. So didn't want to take a chance. And today, with the kind of load that with these heavy roofs, you don't want to take a chance with the, structural as well as the strength of these walls. You don't want to take a chance with any of that.
Right.
But you can just see, the land is so barren there, nothing really grows. So that's one of the reasons that these old trees are so precious today. Because if you don't want to landscape, this is not like Lonavala, Khandala, where one can landscape this area. Because we did try once planting, this other client, we got her urns and we put some plants in. And with the crazy rains and the monkeys, nothing stays. Eventually, we kind of, it just gets all ruined. To maintain is very difficult. And in natural circumstances, only this kind of jungly stuff and the old trees, mango trees, etc., have stayed. Of course, it still has a beautiful forest cover. So it's a forest, those kind of hardy plants and trees. You can't really beautify it with your kind of plants. Those don't work here. Anything else, Parveen? Ahana?
Do we have more questions?
Do we have any more questions? Okay.
Thank you so much, Sonika.
My
This is a
pleasure. I
wonderful-
hope this inspires people to take this little getaway out of Bombay. Now, all the more, I think after the lockdown, we've realized how important it is to be able to get out of the city. So I really do hope this inspires you all to visit Mathiran more often.
Sure. So, in fact, there are some questions. If we can just quickly take that up. Somebody has asked, what is the difference between using bricks and the Cyphorix bricks, environment-wise and also cost-wise and longevity? This is Bijal.
Yeah. So bricks, of course, are porous. They are of course, been used now for a very long period. We have understood the strength of the brick, the structure. Again, it's a very slim, though a little heavy, yes. But again, because of the character of the brick, the way it is, one can easily drill holes into it. One can easily cut a brick. We do a lot of half brick work. We stagger a brick wall, we never make a brick wall where all the joints are at the same place, because then that's exactly where it is crack and break. You always stagger it. So for the brick, it's so easy to cut it at any size. It's a very regular 9 by 4.5 inch size of brick. It's a very slim one. You can do a 1 brick work. You can do a 1.5 brick work where it's needed. So it's a very, I think a very, when you're playing with blocks, it's a very useful block to play with. If you can really build differently with it, different shapes, different sizes. As opposed to that, a Cyphorix is, of course, it's hollow, so it's less heavy. It's a little larger, and again, it's a non-breathable material. It is something which does not allow very deep drilling. You can do a little bit somewhere if you need it, but frankly speaking, you can't, like how you want to hang a picture somewhere. I want to put, let's say, my TV, screws right through. All that the Ciporex doesn't allow me to do. So again, if I want to stick to the character of an old structure, I would avoid a Ciporex if unless I'm really looking at let's say I am trying to reduce the weight of a wall, or I'm trying to reduce the weight on a surface, then maybe Ciporex where I can cover it up, paint it up, nobody will know it's a Ciporex wall. But if it was just genuinely a construction where I'm plastering the surface nicely, again it takes plaster very nicely, POP very nicely, so you get a very nice even surface. So also I feel when you're dealing with this kind of heritage structure, somehow very, very modern materials don't cohesively go together. So one can use it, of course, but I would do it very judiciously, only wherever it's needed. Longevity wise, I think Ciporex has been around for shorter, so up till now I think it's doing well. Cost wise, it can be cheaper, yes, but labor wise, I think people still are very comfortable, especially my labor here was a lot of the village labor. It was very used to bricks. So I think a lot of different reasons why one uses these materials. Thanks, Ria. Thanks, Bijal. Thanks, Madhuri, for being here. Thanks, Pallavi.
Thank you so much. We really enjoyed it.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you for having me here, and I hope you guys enjoy seeing these different works. Thank you so much.
Okay, madam.
Thank you, Purushottam. Thank you.
Yeah.
My carpenter's also here. Thank you.